Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer on the absolutely massive, incredible, and completely isolated universe of the Drift Stars tabletop role-playing game. We are going to unpack the essential primer for the setting. We'll be zooming all the way out to look at the cosmic scale of a totally fractured humanity, and then zooming right back in to the gritty, everyday reality of living on a starship. So, whether you're a veteran role player or literally just sitting down at the table for the first time, let's explore exactly what you need to know to survive out there.
But before we get into the starships and the blasters, we really have to understand the chilling, accidental reality that sets the stage for everything in this universe. Think about this phrase for a second. No one planned to come here. That is the haunting truth of this entire setting. You see, this isn't some story about a triumphant, perfectly planned galactic conquest. No way. This is a story of survival. It's about being utterly cut off and trying to make a life in a place you were never, ever supposed to be.
So to get you ready for your first session, we're going to cover 5 key areas today. Welcome to the Drift, life on the frontier, the great powers, creating your character, and finally, the unknown awaits. Let's get into it.
Section 1. Welcome to the Drift, and exactly how we got here.
You know, humanity actually believed space travel was going to unite us all. But instead, it completely scattered us. It all started centuries ago with the invention of the slip drive. This was a massive breakthrough that finally allowed for faster-than-light travel between nearby star systems. Then came the event known as the Great Vanishing. Thousands of colony and research ships attempting long-range slip jumps just vanished from known space. They didn't explode. Instead, they emerged inside this enormous, totally uncharted region of the galaxy, completely severed from everything humanity had ever known. And that event is the dividing line of history that leads right to the present-day drift.
And here are the absolute do-or-die stakes of this setting. Entering the drift is possible. Leaving, however, has proven nearly impossible. You and your crew are cut off. You're surviving in this weird pocket of space that contains hundreds of inhabited worlds, bizarre stellar phenomena, ancient ruins, and fully established alien civilizations. Every single colony and station out there survives purely on its own ingenuity and trade because, make no mistake, no rescue party is ever coming for you.
Because of this total isolation, the whole vibe of Drift Stars is hyper-focused on exploration and survival. You are not commanding mighty galactic empires from some pristine throne room. Instead, you're on the ground. You're exploring mysterious planets, recovering lost tech, negotiating with aliens, surviving incredibly hostile environments, and mapping unknown jump routes. You're acting as explorers, merchants, and scientists trying to make a real, tangible difference on a highly dangerous frontier.
Section 2. Life on the frontier and the rugged, day-to-day grit required to actually survive.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how jarring the reality of travel in the drift really is. To jump between star systems, you use a slip drive. The actual jump takes just moments, sure, but it requires hours of careful charging well outside a planet's gravity well. But once you're actually inside a system, well, then you rely on fusion torch engines. This is slow, long acceleration travel that takes days just to move between planets. And because there's no faster-than-light communication, your ship is carrying way more than just cargo. You are carrying vital news, medicine, political treaties, and, honestly, hope. Information only moves as fast as you do.
The technology profile of the Drift is this really fascinating paradox. On one hand, you have incredibly advanced practical tech. We're talking fusion power, artificial gravity, railguns, robotics, and limited AI. But on the other hand, there's a massive scarcity issue. Fuel is incredibly valuable. Replacement parts are incredibly hard to find. The reality of everyday life is that old equipment is constantly repaired rather than replaced. It is a high-tech universe held together by sheer willpower and probably a whole lot of space-grade duct tape holding together a sputtering fusion reactor.
Section 3. The Great Powers. Let's take a look at the major socio-political factions vying for influence out there.
First up, we have the Horizon Compact. This is the largest alliance of human colonies. Their stated goal is to rebuild civilization by restoring trade routes, supporting those struggling frontier settlements, and pushing for organized exploration. Now, depending on who you ask in the game, many see the Compact as humanity's absolute best hope for long-term survival. But others, they view them as the sprawling, heavy-handed bureaucracy that's just trying to exert control over fiercely independent worlds.
So, ask yourself, does your character align with these structured ideals? You belong with the Compact if you served in their navy, if you trained as a scientist, if you work as a colonial marshal,
Or if you simply believe deep down that structured cooperation is literally the only way humanity has a future out here in the dark. Now, on the total flip side of that coin, we have the Free Captains League. This isn't really a government, it's a loose coalition of independent ship captains, traders, salvagers, and adventurers. They have zero capital city and very few laws. What really matters to them is honoring contracts and respecting fellow captains above any kind of political legislation. And because they're totally untethered, League crews are usually the ones out there discovering new worlds long before the bureaucrats, even though they exist.
Think about whether your character thrives on that kind of rugged independence. You are a perfect fit for the League if you own a piece of a starship, if you grew up hauling cargo on merchant vessels or frontier stations, or quite simply, if you trust the crew sitting next to you far, far more than you trust some government light years away.
Then we have our third major player, which introduces a totally alien element, the Solar Dominion. This is an ancient non-human civilization that is steadily expanding across the Drift. They operate on the firm belief that peace comes through unity and enlightened rule. They strongly prefer diplomacy over destruction, however, they absolutely never abandon territory once they've claimed it. Many Dominion citizens genuinely believe they are helping younger, chaotic civilizations like humanity. So, are they benevolent guardians or polite conquerors? That's left entirely up to your perspective in the game.
Playing a character tied to this ancient alien faction gives you some seriously fantastic role-playing angles. You might belong here if you are a Dominion citizen curious about these chaotic humans, if you're a diplomatic observer, if you're actively seeking independence from their enlightened rule, or if you're simply hoping that these vastly different civilizations can somehow manage to coexist peacefully.
Section 4. Creating your character. Let's zoom all the way in to your specific role in the universe.
Okay, let's focus on you. In Drift Stars, your real strength is your knowledge and your crew, not some superhuman abilities. You choose your role. Maybe you're the pilot, or the engineer keeping impossible machines running, or a marine, a scientist, a medic, an explorer, a diplomat, a smuggler, scavenger, or colonist. You are highly skilled, highly motivated, and at the end of the day, entirely human.
And regardless of the role you pick, we absolutely have to talk about the most critical member of your crew, your starship. In this setting, your ship is so much more than just a way to get from A to B. It's your home. It's your literal lifeline in the cold vacuum of space. It's your reputation, your weapon, and your livelihood all rolled into one. Crews in the Drift often spend way more time and money improving their ship than buying personal equipment. Upgrading your sensor suite or getting a dependable reactor matters so much more than just buying a shiny new rifle. Honestly, if the ship dies, you all die.
Section 5, the unknown awaits, right beyond the very next jump.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that for all the complex politics and gritty technology we've talked about, what really drives this game is the sheer, mind-boggling scale of the unknown. No one has explored more than a tiny fraction of the Drift. There are these wild rumors just waiting to be investigated. We're talking about massive cities orbiting black holes, actual living planets, artificial suns, lost fleets that vanished centuries ago. There are even whispers of hidden maps leading towards something called the legendary Heart of the Drift. Any of these could literally be your next destination.
There's this traditional Free Captain saying that I think just perfectly captures the spirit of the game. Beyond every horizon waits another mystery. Beyond every mystery waits another star. It really drives home the ultimate rule out here. You do not survive alone. Your crew is your family, and your very next jump could uncover a secret that changes the future of entire civilizations.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought before you hit the table. In a universe this vast, this dangerous, and wildly unpredictable, what will your crew's legacy actually be? Will you be famous explorers charting the unknown? Wealthy merchants building a trade empire? Frontier heroes or legendary salvagers? The Drift is out there, and it's waiting for you. It's time to roll the dice, fire up those fusion torches, and carve out your own legacy. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. And hey, safe travels out there in the Drift.